And we're back. Welcome, friends, curiosity seekers, and connoisseurs of fantasy throughout the known. A pleasure to have your presence once more, far away or not. All right, so tonight we're going to do... I was teasing the troupe a bit and telling them we're going to do some on-camera geek out. So this will count as housekeeping this time, I think. So for those of you out there who already know all about this, and this is going to seem rather remedial, but for me this is high speed. Okay, this is me getting with the 2010s here. So a lovely person in my life got me these condition rings, and I want to pass these around real quick so you guys can kind of see. This is I have not told the troupe this yet, so you can just have a gander as that's going on. And then I think this is going to help facilitate these new abilities that Merrick and Nilishli have. So
PTSD.
No, that's
not new. That's an old one.
That is an old ability, right? So even though obviously Corey, Merrick is not going to know this in character, he's not going to have a name for it. So you come up with whatever description, whatever his subjective experience is. I always want to place the subjective experience front and center. It's really important for the verisimilitude of the campaign. But for game purposes, the condition ring is Hunter's Mark, and this is a bonus action. Okay.
Nice.
And you have two slots that you can use. Probably, I'll write up a card for you, but actually, I'm not going to tell you that yet. You need to experiment with it to see.
Are you talking to me?
No.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not going to tell you yet.
You need to understand all the aspects of it.
These are, you have to, you have
Right
to.
now, I think it's a one-shot.
Yeah.
Or something weird. I have no idea.
And then this is for Nilishli. Nilishli, you have 3. Ooh. Now, each time that you use one of these, baby, you're gonna give it to me, and I'm gonna put it down. And then this also, though, counts as Arms of the Abyss too, as Arms of the Night too. So basically, whenever you use your mystical, like the stronger mystical abilities, you're gonna throw one of these my way.
Okay.
And then she gets all 3.
If you get it on his nose, you get bonus points.
And this was just what my friend had.
The ring toss.
Our own Tobias had. So we're looking to get a more colorful one that will show up better on camera.
Nice.
We're going to use these until then. All right, so we have that piece, and I think we still have Eldritch Foundry with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Oh, yes.
Continuing to use stuff. You're going to see some of that. You're going to see some of that on screen. Probably not this episode, unless something really weird happens, because I think we have our tableau pretty well established here for the nonce. And the other 2 other parts that I had. So, as I said, two features of this gem are T-Rex arms and ADHD brain. So I was not looking in the right place. I actually did have the frickin' prop that I was groping around for that I thought I had misplaced. I just did not reach into the right part of the cubby to have it. So, my dear, this is what he left.
This is so sweet.
That's what Adrian left. And you can open it right quick, and it has...
Oh, it's got the little Colin fruit on the bottom.
And it has a Colin fruit, and it has a birdie, and then that's the poem that he wrote.
Oh, cute.
Lovely
Learn me a
boy.
language real quick,
Yes.
guys. I love it.
Even I am not crazy enough to have, however, made a grammatical of a dead fictional language behind that
Are you sure?
yet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, I am working on a dead fictional language because
I-
I'm ridiculous.
I love it.
Um,
Adorable.
so remind me who already had and then the last thing is remind me who already had the flow chart or actually it's an organizational chart for the Myrmidons, for the sergeants. I know
Yeah, I
you
have
did
one.
Merrick.
Yep,
I know
I
you
have
did Titus.
I have one.
Katrin, you had one because of your memory. And at the time that we had passed these out, I said you hadn't been around them enough. That's changed because you have been around them enough now. Obviously, you didn't have one either. And Wesa, did you have
He
one?
does now.
You did. Okay.
I think I have one too.
That's
Yeah, you did. Okay. So the only person then that I need to pass this out to, and I'm just gonna remind tell the audience and remind the players, each of there are 40 sergeants on here. There are four centurions. Each of them responsible for 100 of the Myrmidons underneath them, and then it has the legate and of course Titus and Victus on top. So each of these characters, it has the full character sheet, history, traits, all of that stuff, because I really like to get a depth of understanding, and as opposed to Sergeant number 27 or something like that. And I'm going to try, I guess that slides into the last piece of housekeeping. I'm going to try to make sure that we have the matching corporals that pair with all 40 of these sergeants for maybe 2 episodes from now. I might be able to get it next episode. We'll see. But anyway, so pass that down to Nilishli, if you would.
You have another copy of that?
I do.
This one's just horizontal.
Yeah, and the yeah, a little bit got cut off, but I think you can.
I got it.
I think you can see, Donnie.
Sweet.
All right.
I'll fill you in.
Thank you.
It's numbered.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is for later, and that we will decide on stream. Okay. And with that, friends, I believe we're ready to dive back
Handle
into
of
the narrative.
Tales.
Handle of Tales. We're gonna have to get
All in sync.
we're gonna have to get our yep, you plucked it right out of my head. Our non-existent prop budget where you can just go ignum.
Ignum,
it'll
and then
be-
it just like turns
it'll light. Yep.
Ooh, control it from the back.
Yep.
See what happens.
We'll see. That's the season 2 sort of thing. All right, and I believe we have a journal entry. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
Long one. Watch out.
No, let's do it.
Ooh. It can be quite exhausting listening to all the complaints and issues running rampant in the city when I spend time with Livia. She deals with so many things throughout Juramentum, and her calmness with the pettiest of matters is reassuring. To learn from her has been an understatement. She brings me such great friendship. The discussions we have together have been so productive, and the intelligence that she holds is a nice change of pace. She's the sister I wish I had, instead of the cruel and stupid sister I was given. Thank the eternal river I don't see her anymore. Maybe she's dead. One can only hope. As confused and as angry as I am with Adrian, he's given me the most wonderful gift, the gift of language. I'm overwhelmed with joy to be holding a chance for this dead language of Nausicaa to be so carefully placed in my hands. I will not lie, my feelings towards him are shifting slightly. For him to understand what this means to me, I can't refuse the intense happiness I feel. Griffin is here. I'm curious to see how Figulus manages his presence and the demands he seeks. He won't stop until Figulus brings back his little brother, Ollie. The impossible task of bringing a life force back into existence. I have a fear that it would not end well. I'm curious as to the relationship building between Nilishli and Griff. It's dangerous. He's dangerous. The magic he wields is chaotic, and I fear him being this close to Juramentum is not good. But with him comes valuable information. He said the 8th child of the Crimson is on his way. What his purpose is, I'm unsure, but the amount of chosen in this city will draw them closer. Figulus might have given them freedom, but we need to be ready for anything. And our shores were greeted with a slaver's ship. They finally come to deliver Leptis Regium's terms of annexation. That woman irritated me beyond belief, and I'm curious of how this meeting is gonna go and what will become of the slaves within that ship. I hate her. I hate her. Side note, what the hell happened with Marcus?
Okay, actually, that's a very meaty recap.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that's good. Thank you. So, Donnie, we were, for the moment, out of rounds. We will see if we devolve back into them. Mm-hmm. You had go ahead and for the audience, and then for your troop mates, go ahead and repeat what you had commanded.
Them to drop all their weapons in front of me. As a pile. And
this gentleman here with the 2 swords, who was the smart one who had been pleading, speaking in legal terms, had taken a glancing blow and then had run behind one of the crates. So he's actually the first to drop his weapon. Mm-hmm. And he looks at you and gives you a terrified smile.
Yeah.
And does one of these. You're up there with Merrick. You have the seagull circling overhead. You have a bracing breeze rolling off of Lake Celesticula. Merrick is beside you. Merrick, make a perception roll.
23.
Ooh, okay. So actually on that you notice 2 things. One of them is that it seems like you can still hear and sense quite a few people below decks. And you can almost taste their terror. And then the other thing has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your bow. And you look at your bow and you see this beautiful, remember Granny Touchjam herself carved this over moons and moons. She bathed it in her cauldron, and she took the strings and also made them. And it is an empowered item. It is low key a marvel in that it translates. It allows your tiny 3'5" body to essentially utilize effectively what is a longbow.
Right.
Even though it isn't. And in this manifestation of the Magna Mater's love and care for her children, you see rot beginning to spread out the bottom of it.
Wow.
No.
Okay. You do not judge that it has compromised the integrity of the bow yet. All right. Marcus, I'm gonna stand up just to make sure that I'm seeing all of these folks. Obviously, light of day, and to recap for the audience, or just to bear in mind, you have, I don't know, at this point probably 24 archers up on a wall that's just yonder. It's close. This dock is small. This is probably the largest trireme. Well, it's the largest ship. It's the only trireme currently in the dock. It's not unknown for triremes, which are larger ships in this world, to be here, but it's of note. And Cartyn, since you're the most intelligent party member, give me a raw intelligence check, and there's something I want to see if that may occur to her.
Just raw number?
Raw. Raw just means with your plus.
Oh, 14.
Okay. There isn't necessarily something quote unquote wrong with the setup, but it strikes you as odd that the slavers would, because remember, standing up now, Let's see, I'll reach over here so so the audience can see what I'm ranting about. So yeah, over here, and then over here is open, so it's not an enclosed. It's not a fully enclosed space, but you see, you find it a little bit unusual, or stupid, or short-sighted that they would have it open like that and be flaunting slaves. So something is out of joint. Because it wouldn't have taken the harbor master's pretty thorough, and it shouldn't have taken them anyway this long for there to have been a ruckus. Because remember, the sails are furled, which means that they didn't just pull in; they've been sitting here for a while. And on a ship this large, that you may or may not be looking at the full crew complement, which is the other thing that would occur to you. So there may already be crew that have disembarked and that are currently in the market or currently on the beach or like that.
Ah, okay.
So that's all occurring to you, to her magnificent mind as you're watching this potential, I will refrain from characterizing it for the moment. This potential scene unfold.
Wait.
And yeah, you can move first. Make an insight check, Marcus.
18.
18? Okay. So you can feel the incipient strands of something truly awful about to happen. And you can see the faces of these cowed men. And remember, last session I had said that Titus's will was lashing and beating them down, and that 2/3 of them had already fallen, and there was another third. With that high of an insight roll, have you met Titus Invictus yet? Have you seen his grandson?
I've seen him once. Just in the room with Lady Vale. Oh.
No, and with the. No, you were not present for that.
I was recovering for that.
No, you were. Yep, you were recovering when the whole 12th light thing was going down. Okay, but you have been in his presence before. So with that high of a roll, two things. The first, immediately germane to this situation, is that the balance of something awful or not happening just hangs right there, and you can feel it. It's in your that high. It's probably in your bones. The other thing is that one of the things, Titus Metellus, the older Titus Cornelius, Titus Metellus still has yet to be fully forged as a man. At his age, he stands on the beginning of manhood. He's already a fine warrior. You've already seen that beyond doubt. What you're looking at, though, the one thing that has slid right into place, 100 out of 100. He has inherited his formidable grandsire's terrifying aura. So he has a palpable, when he's like this, you can feel a palpable aura of menace that's spreading out throughout the ship. And even the ones furthest down here, the ones who still somewhat have their wits about them and naturally try to get away from him, even you see them comply. They're the last to reluctantly drop their arms, but they comply. Okay, so all of that to hit. Go ahead, Corey.
Domine, there are more down. Stairs.
Well, I'll call out to the guy who was the eager one who was smiling big.
Okay.
Bring the men up. Free those slaves. Bring them on deck.
Not my men, Domini, unless you're giving me a promotion.
Free the slaves below.
Just the slaves?
And whoever else might be down there. Bring them up.
Everyone up?
Yes.
Right.
Is there someone down there we should know about?
Yeah.
Drop your weapons as well to them down there.
Of course. Gladly.
Are they dangers? Men down there?
No. I mean, all men are dangerous, but under the wrong circumstances. But
Domine,
not the time for sophistry, I understand.
Someone's captured that may or may not be.
I go. And so he runs down here and disappears. Okay.
I'll slowly walk in front of each of the guys and their weapons and kind of kick them off off the ship entirely.
I follow behind
The
him.
weapons.
Yeah,
Okay.
just kicking their weapons.
All right. Now, a few of the hardiest slaves
Slavers.
have made their way up already.
Oh, okay.
The ones who are like this down, and they're coming up. You know, these guys are blinking. You see their wrists are bloody, and they either have the strongest bodies or the strongest spirits. There may be 3 or 4 of them who have made their way up. But once the eager man runs down, he has a slightly vulpine cast or make to his features, and with quick, sure movements, he runs down, and you can hear his voice. All right, the Lord, the lovely, merciful Lord has said, everyone up, up, if you value your Quaelathon damn lives, up.
As he kicks the first one, Dark goes, Domine, we might be able to use those weapons for our men. The blacksmiths can't make as much. Should we collect them?
Sure. Kick another one off. And just kind of
I look to see. Do we have any men on at all that have come up at all on the dock?
They have paused because of you.
Yeah,
So
I would have the Myrmidons coming down.
okay.
At least like,
Nilishli, where do you want to be while this is going on?
I think,
Because you were the only other close quarters person
Yeah.
that was with them.
yeah, I think I would have followed up behind them. Like, shortly after, they would have ascended the boat.
Okay, so you're up the ramp. So
Yeah,
you're
just behind.
You're somewhere close. You're close by. Okay, all right. No, that makes complete sense. And I'm not necessarily going to move the figurines every time, but I just want to kind of get a good idea. And let me get where the other fellowship members are.
I would have moved back to where Marcus is.
I actually moved up to shield her when she moved up. I moved up
you did.
every time she did.
Yeah, you have been.
Okay.
That's been
Then
consistent.
I'll stay close to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to stay near the shore, get a good view of everything.
Okay, so you're no longer on the. You no longer want to be on the pier,
I can be on the very end of the pier, but kind of, yeah,
like with
close by.
like with Marcus. Okay.
She can put her money because as soon as it was out of combat rounds, I wanted to run up and see if there was anybody who needed tending upstairs, like her slaves, like that.
Okay, so you're
I'd already gone
actually
up, yeah.
okay. So you're in the mix then. No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm gonna put you up here then with Nilishli.
you don't have your sea legs.
All right. So, how do you? Ooh, this is important. How do you navigate the lady who is walking along like she owns the place, just kind of moving? She has her silk fan with the bronze ribs.
Is she still seated on that dude who was like kneeling?
No. Now she's walking away, kind of in a huff. I'm going to let you ride a little bit on that earlier insight roll. Kind of in a huff, and she doesn't even look over herself. Two of her retinue were slain up there, and she doesn't look back.
Yeah. On that note, as I'm passing by her, I make space for her, become a large guy, and I generally make space for people who are smaller than I am. But as I'm walking by, does she seem to be expecting something to happen here? Like maybe
she moves toward you as though you don't exist.
Right.
So all right. So as
she has that
you
air of somebody like that anticipating air about her that something might happen that she needs.
it's the level above that.
Okay.
It's the level of or below that, depending on how you want to parse it. Of it doesn't even occur to her that it is possible. I'll put it this way: it's as certain as the sun rising in the east that no plebeian is going to interfere with her tread.
Fair enough.
So,
I'm gonna walk right by her. I'll nod. I'll move on.
okay. You hear a chill, noted, and she gets to you, Wesa, and she's walking not necessarily dead center of it, but just careless of it, and assuming people are going to melt in front of her. What do you do?
I bow.
Gracefully.
Yep.
Okay. And you step to one side.
Gripping my blade.
And the lady says, "Oh, manners aren't dead after all." They just have to
say to her.
Well, she's not necessarily addressing you. She's
Correct.
just right. And she says, "I didn't know they had legs this far north." And you're kind of, are you like halfway up the stairs to the piers, or?
I think, sort of. I think I'm more closer to the edge than anything.
Okay. So you're back a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, back a bit. All right.
Feet in the water kind of thing.
There you go. Yeah, splashing along. It's going to be hard as your three fellowship members get farther onto the trireme. It will be harder and harder to see them.
I think once I lose sight of them, or I'm about to, I'll get up and start walking.
And you make way. One of the men, one of her retinue, starts screaming, "Telo!" with fear in his face. "Telocum! Telocum! Telocum Malleorbis! Telocum! Telocum! Telocum Malleorbis!" Which in Old Speak means, "Make way! Make way! Make way for your betters!" But like I said, instead of pride in his face or ferocity, you see just fear.
Domine, something's not right below.
And he has run, orbited, skittered around his lady, and is running ahead of her. He's not going to collide into you. I mean, he'll run around you.
Yeah.
But he's obviously, you can see him just imploring everybody to get out of her way.
I think because I'm a little bit to the side, I'm not going to move. So if she runs into me, she runs into me. But I don't want to be in the way, but I'm kind of in the way. She annoyed me.
You will catch. You'll get a patrician hand check, not quite a shoulder check, but the way that she's just kind of swinging and sashaying about reality. You are going to catch a hand. Okay. And so she goes in this bizarre game of class conscious chicken, and at the last moment, the man throws himself in between the two of you, and so he's facing you, his back to her, and he tries to kind of guide you away from it. Do you let him do that, or do you stand firm?
I let him do it.
Okay. All right. And then he runs after her, and one of the women runs, puts Domina, I can't. For Quelathon's sake, Falca, I told you you had special dispensation. Yes, you may touch the damn book. And so she rifles through some a gold-threaded silk canopied rucksack, and she rifles through it quickly and then presents it to her lady as she's walking along the beach. Don't worry, I'll catch you guys up here. Yeah. But basically, even if you set this frickin' trireme on fire and started slaughtering everybody indiscriminately, she wouldn't look back. So yeah. I'm just running this so we can kind of devote the next chunk to y'all. So yeah, she continues on. She reaches down, plucks something out, and flings it down on the ground. And one of the surviving women picks it up, brushes off the sand, and tries to get it back into the rucksack. The lady goes through, unties. You didn't untie this. Oh, never mind. Too slow. And she unties the front. That one, the one that Adrian got you, actually has like a masterwork hasp on the front, which you've never seen on a book before. So she unties it. All right. You. Oh, why are there so many children here? I need a man, not a boy. I am a man. Not with manners like that, you aren't. She says, I'm looking for... All right. What is this? Lady... She's a lady here, right? Oh, 4 names. Yes, a lady. Lady Livia Metella Glabria Vaughan. Yes, that's the lady of Juramentum. Well, bring her here. Domina... And so the Kithki are looking at each other. What? Am I... She says, am I speaking now second? Bring her here. And one of them says, just send a runner. It's okay. She's probably en route anyway. She knows about this. So you see one of the fleet of foot runs. You can't tell if it's a human boy or one of the Kithki archers at this distance. Okay, so that goes on. All right.
How many have came up? Like slaves?
As this is going on, almost all of them survived, actually, so, because it was quick and relatively bloodless. So, Corey, I'm going to let you got a 23 on that earlier perception. I'm going to let you write off of that for a while, because you would realistically, you would be
I'm focusing on
totally
if I
trained
see
on.
any fear, any like are they like gonna burn the ship down from underneath? I'm on edge right now.
What's your insight bonus?
+7.
Okay. You don't see anything of that nature.
Okay.
Immediately. With that perception roll, though, because this is something Merrick would be really keyed to, you are seeing only about one out of every third or fourth person has bloody wrists.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they look like they could do with a meal, and a meal or three. They definitely look like they could do with some rest, but you don't see any evidence of them having been restrained or imprisoned.
Domine, there are men here that don't have bloody wrists. I suggest we bring a couple decades down here, round all these up, put them in an area and process them properly to figure out who is who, because it's hard to tell who might be a spy, an enemy, who's a slave.
Understood. And then while I'm kind of like readying my sword almost to give the order to kill them, I'm going to reach in and I'm going to pull out a coin. And on that coin, I'm going to flip it up. And when I hit it on the back of my hand, I'm going to look over and I'm going to notice that there's a bunch of black ash from that list that was burned. And that ash on there, and just be like, have them arrested, have them come down. And he's going to think the better of it and kind of like have those men be escorted off to be arrested.
Okay.
You see Merrick wipe his forehead.
Been thinking on that one for a while. Yep.
You can hear Marcus's palpable sigh of relief. Nilishli, make an insight roll. I want to see how well you understand what just happened.
Wrong guy. Wrong guy.
Different one, baby.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Way better.
Let's see.
Insight's
Nice.
wisdom, so it's going to be rough.
-2, yeah.
8.
8. You know, something just happened, because Marcus is usually pretty solid, like a solid presence, and you hear him. I mean, he's right next to you, and you hear him. Yeah, and so you're like, okay.
As I'm clutching my candle.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be observing. I'm not going to just like looking around and observing. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay. And you have several decuries come up, and they start binding these men. I'm going to remind you here that Germentum does not have facilities to hold them, so they can be bound, they can be detained for sure, and there aren't so many. I mean, they're only you can fit them inside of the courtyard and have them secure, but you don't have permanent because Germentum was not built with a jail or a dungeon.
Yep.
To force the nobility, among other reasons, to force the nobility to enact swift and accurate justice.
So they're getting all of them, slaves, non-slaves, all of them, right?
They are.
I want to make sure we capture, we retain all of them.
Yeah, all of them that are bound are the ones on, and anyone that looks somewhat suspicious, I'll let Merrick kind of do that. Judge.
Okay, that will take torches to accurately and carefully go through them.
Okay.
I want to. So
Escort
a
them
couple
on-
things
on the
here.
beach.
I want to
Yeah.
eventually get Wesa up here as well. I'm gonna look physically for their appearance of a slavery,
Will Wesa go up? Okay.
and I want Wesa to assess them from other aspects.
Okay, so both of you are looking.
We're looking at them.
and see. Okay.
They also could be questioned. They may know some knowledge down south that might be useful.
Okay.
I'm aware.
There's also any wounded that need to be tended to that are not part of the slaving crew.
There are.
Then I'll start tending to them as well.
Okay.
Anyone who needs like immediate attention versus like just a little bit of triage here and there.
Wait, so I'm gonna roll on the green die 20 for you.
Okay.
What's your plus to insight? I know it's
Insight is 7.
Dang.
Holy cow.
She's very insightful.
Yeah. Okay. With the two of you, it does go a little more quickly, but you're prioritizing accuracy over speed.
Yes.
I assume, unless you
want
veto
spies.
me. Yep. And as that's happening, all of these guys you're binding, right? Okay.
Any that are questionable, we will bind. And those who are not questionable, like they have like bloody wrists, they look like Fouquet, or like almost dead, then we'll probably let those go.
Okay. So
Or at least split them in 2 different areas.
you have like 20 guys up here now on it. It's even on this ship, it's starting to get a little cozy.
Oh, yeah. I would have them escorted off once that Decury arrives.
As they come up, there's a bit of a kerfluffle at the stairs, as you hear. First, as you see. So I know I kind of had to jump ahead because I wanted to give you some idea, but this is the first time that you're seeing. This is a new one, even in Germentum. This shimmering blue hair on top of a small head, coming up the stairway. Half shambling, half carried by this hulking figure beside him. You assume it's him, but the dimensions are small enough. It could be a woman. And he comes. Although I say that, and your sister's 6 foot tall, so what do I know?
And Nilishli's right here too.
I mean, she's a divine construct, so that I don't know. I'm not willing to put her on the bimodal distribution of height there. But the one has the other, and as one of your men says, "Sir, this way." The Hulk kind of turns around because you have to walk up and then turn around. He kind of looks and turns around. He sees one of the slavers getting thrown down because your men are not being aggressive, but they're also not being gentle. I mean, they're kicking.
It's the job.
Kicking them behind their knee, getting them on their knees, binding their hands behind them, And if any of them look like spitters or kickers, they're literally just they get hogtied and dragged. And so as this large, dark-haired, dark-eyed man kind of looks in a different situation, it might be comical that he kind of has this. It looks like he's one of those guys who's always attempting to grow a beard, and it's just never going to happen. So he turns around, like hell's you're not gonna touch him. Not like that, you aren't. Fuck that. And the two Myrmidon are looking at him. Actually, he would have already had his dagger out, and he pushes the blue-haired one behind him and hunkers down.
And does he have chain marks on his wrist or anything? No. Oh, okay. So he's the only one that's there.
He's the only. This is the only kerfluffle. So there's.
Okay.
So there's maybe.
Against the Myrmidons.
Yeah. Okay. So there's maybe.
Drop your weapon.
There may be 40. And you're most of the way through emptying. So there were maybe 40, maybe as much as 50 below deck. You're not sure quite yet, but you can. The sounds below are lessening.
Subsiding?
Yeah, they're subsiding. So
yeah, drop your weapon if you want to live.
Don't care about myself. They ain't touching him like that. They ain't gonna truss him up like a god's damn hog.
Fine, and I'll walk around him and pick up the shoulder and help that blue-haired person off.
Make a persuasion check.
All right. That is 11.
Okay. Your men tense. This man is a heartbeat away from death, and you hear as he looks like he bares his teeth, and behind weakly, a bleeding hand touches his elbow. Evander, don't. It's okay. His lights are good. They're good around him. You sure? Yeah, I can see it. I can see him again.
Can I assess him in terms of like
Yeah, me too.
this like overall stance, perception? Does he feel like has he been chained? Has he been beaten? What's the damage from?
Make a medicine roll.
Come on.
He's clearly one of the slaves. I mean, that you don't have to roll for that.
14.
14. So slave. It does look like he got some extra attention. His face has been cut up. What you can see of his face has been slashed up. It looks like he has a front, like a permanent frown, but someone dug here and took out part of his
Like a Glasgow smile.
Marcus!
part of his face.
We need your help. Please.
You see eyes staring back at you that a color you've never seen before, violet eyes. And one of your myrmidons says, is that one of the impure? Which you two would know, Wesa would not. You're not there, you would know, but you're not there. So you two would know that the impure are a caste of people in Leptis Regium who cannot pass as human. They have wildly different skin and wildly different hair.
I've never seen one. I've only heard of them.
No, you've heard, but you know that they're kind of like Kithki and Leptis Regium. I mean, they're prized. They're seen as like exotic pets or guardians or sometimes assassins.
Go to that Myrmidon and just kind of look back and be like, is that your job? To say what they are?
No, don't.
Bind them. Get them off the ship.
Those two?
No, the others.
Right. Bows and, and turns. And this person steps around. He, to judge by his features, a little bit more difficult with the damage, but to judge by the features, he's maybe around your age. And he says, my name's Jason Domini. This is my friend Evander.
Save your strength, Jason. We'll get you better.
He's renounced his ways. Yeah, I have. He's done with slaving. But we have to tell you the truth. So, is he gonna walk off this ship?
Can you change, Vander?
I feel like I already have.
I'm actually listening to this because he already called my attention to the whole situation.
He did. Go ahead.
20? Not natural.
Dirty 20. Okay. It has not just the ring of truth to it, Randy, but also a deep sorrow underneath.
Don't I? I nod. As I get your attention, I nod.
Drop your weapon, and we'll see about changing your stars.
And he, instead of dropping it, he kneels down and very deliberately, I'll get back to you, Gertie. Pats the dagger, rises back up. Okay, and with your blessing, they walk through. One of the sergeant in charge.
I'll pick up the dagger. I'll keep this for you safe.
What's it gonna do?
The sergeant in charge asks again, Kithki, Domini, they're leaving?
The Kithki?
Yeah, Kithki sergeant.
Oh, yeah. They're leaving the ship.
Yeah. I mean, basically confirming with you.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll escort them myself. I'll be behind them while they walk off. Because that should be everybody off the ship, correct?
Well, we got a process. How long is the processing?
The process is definitely going to take longer. Yeah. It's faster with the two of you working in concert, but longer than you. Longer than you walking out. Okay. So I will sit back down because it doesn't look like we're going to be jumping back in.
Yeah. As they're walking off, I'm just going to take that coin out, kind of start rubbing that ash off of it, and then just kind of like thinking it over, looking, and then get off.
It's not as obvious until after the fact, but you can feel a presence, or at least an intention, leave the area.
He was like quiet prayer to Quailithon, thanking him for this mercy.
Okay. All right. So you two are going through. Is there anything that you're looking for in particular, or are you just helping Merrick to sort the chaff from the wheat, so to speak?
Are there any other wounds that seem kind of strange on any of the folks there, or are they just looking like...
Make a medicine roll.
No. 6.
6.
As Merrick's asking questions, can you determine if they're hiding anything? Is their answer shaky or not?
Yeah, you're in process.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Sergeant. So I would just be curious where these people came from. Where are you from? What's going on? How did you get here? How long have you been on this ship? Trying to see if they have the same answers or different answers.
The story comes out in bits and pieces, and there is some variance in there, but essentially you run into 3 categories. So you have the slavers themselves, and your interview process with you rolled really well. So so did Merrick. Although you guys were looking at overlapping, but you were focused in different directions.
Right.
You were basically looking at security to make sure somebody didn't BS their way into the city, and you're also looking at that, but you're kind of trying to collect the story. So a few things emerge. One of them is that these are indeed the gentlemen who perpetrated the slavers that were up top. Are indeed the gentlemen who perpetrated, or at least aided and abetted the slaughter inside of the farmhouse. That's piece 1. Piece 2 is that there are indeed about. It winds up being about 50 below decks, and all told, and about 20 of them are just straight up slaves, and have been, are in various states of disarray, both mentally and physically, and they're going to need. Some of them are going to need some help. 1 or 2 of them, even with a 6, with your nose, there's just no way that you can miss the very pungent scent of rot on their bodies. And one of them, an older gentleman, drops to his feet, "Bless ye, and tries to grab your skirts and just sobbing into your legs if you allow it.
They're there.
And then there's a third group that I'm thinking about the Eurolit cultural back history. You kind of get to the Germentum folks, this would be repulsive, but you have about 30 of them who willingly sold themselves into slavery, and so they're there basically for room and board, and maybe training if they're lucky.
Okay.
And they tell you about friends who didn't make it, and friends who once they were supposed to be in servitude to the ship, and then they got thrown off. They got sold again at different places against their will, and like that. So it's not like they've had a great time either.
It's part of the process. Once we get them up, I would ask, whoever the sergeant is that's kind of gathering them, that we're in the city, we'd like to keep them in one spot because we still want to figure out what we're going to do with them. We don't want them just running around, for example.
You were dealing with the formidable Prumlo Grumblebelly. Prumlo, as opposed to Prumlaw, who is...
Prumlo.
Yeah, Prumlo Grumblebelly. Well, Prumlaw is the one who's currently potentially going to be another wife for you. But Prumlo Grumblebelly has a bizarre story. He was born in Zahar, He is the physically largest and strongest Kithki in Geramentum, except who does not have the old power. But he's rocking, I believe, a 9 strength, which is freakish for a Kithki.
Yeah.
And his wife, his first wife is Sergeant Finola Deeperfern.
My girl.
And he's a sergeant as well, right?
And he's a sergeant as well. Yeah.
Power couple.
So he always tells a story about how she swept him off his feet, and that was it for him.
Hilarious.
Literally.
I love that. Love that for him.
Because remember, she has the one of the few Kithki articulated plate sets in the city. You know, it's running around.
With your permission, Domine. Sergeant Grumblebelly.
All right.
Promo. I'd like to get all these individuals rounded up and fed and watered in the city, and then we can figure out what to do with them. Some of them might be good for fighting, some might be good for the city, some might be good for the pens.
Pardon me. This is you're about to walk off, so this will be the last time you have access to him, and you're still at least a torch away from finishing this process. He says, "Charis, at your service."
And he's the one who dropped his weapon eagerly with a smile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, terrified smile. Yeah.
And I know that he's one of the slavers
yeah.
responsible for. Okay.
Yeah. He says, "Perhaps I can." This is with his hands tied behind his back. You know, perhaps I can be some assistance with organizing everyone. I am quite aware of the proclivities. After all, just a moment, good sir. And he just,
Gag him.
as he gets
Yeah, just
gladly. Okay.
We will speak later.
How many slaves have now come up from, or how many people? Does it feel like the ship is empty?
The ship, if you stay through the whole process, it's going to be about 2 torches, so 2 hours, because he's checking them for security and she's gathering intel on their story.
So how many do we think is left under?
At this point, everybody has come up, but you still probably have about 20 left to process once Titus, Lord Titus takes off.
Part of me is kind of pulled to go into the bow of the ship.
Okay.
Because it's really dark and there's something about it that, like, I have never seen a ship.
No, you haven't.
This is my first time on a ship, and I'm also something about being pulled into the underbelly of the ship. I don't know why.
Okay.
And I would just kind of whisper to her, like, "See if you see anything interesting down there. Any objects? Any stow treasures?"
Aye.
Or more individuals are hiding and waiting.
Okay, and I'm just gonna slowly slip down as
everybody's out.
As everyone's coming up, I'm gonna slip down. They're also being escorted by soldiers, right?
by the Myrmidon, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna slip down and I'm going to do kind of a stealthy check down there.
Okay. You make your way down. Are you prowling down? Or are you being quiet and careful?
I'm being very quiet and careful, and this is my first chance to use my incredible stealth
Use your stealth, all right? Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Why? That's
the
gonna
mark.
be 14.
Okay. I mean,
That's solid.
you're pretty quiet. It's solid, and there is, and I'm also factoring in as GM, Allie, that there's still a fair amount of noise and activity going above your head. You hear the feet. You hear some yelling, and the seagulls are being particularly caw, obnoxious today. and then there's a bird that you've never quite identified. That's also in the background. That's quite distinct. And that you hear around, but you've never actually seen what bird makes that noise. Huh. So you come down. You come down. You know you love it, Anika. So you come down, and considering the mayhem that was up top just a torch ago, it's eerily quiet down here, or at least not in an auditory sense, but in an energetic sense. It's oddly quiet down here. You do see 2 or 3 corpses that are down here, and you don't know what those stories are, but those are fresh. I mean, remember there were sounds of screaming and fighting going on, so there was some, we'll call it border friction at the very end there. And you're seeing, this you don't need to make a roll for, since I'm picturing her, again, always, when I'm, just as a general rule, y'all, for those of you who haven't played with me as GM before, whenever I'm narrating through these things that your character is doing, if there's something that you, as the player, want to veto because that's not what your character would do, please tell me, all right? But I'm picturing her kind of prowling quietly right down the middle, and maybe, because she's so sensory-driven, and this is new, maybe even putting a hand out and touching some of these long oars. I mean, you're intelligent, you understand how, in theory at least, you understand how the oars would dip into the water and how they would operate. But what you're seeing, because you did come down here and you're running your hands along it and feeling, is you're hitting the clink of chains. Because what they did is they took those 20 and they made sure that they were all on the inside of the row so that you could not see them from the outside. They're maybe slavers, but they're not stupid. They knew where they were going. And you go through some, maybe, the stray thought of some poor wretch who is moments away from salvation, getting stabbed to death or trampled. There's one guy who just looks like he got straight up trampled. He lost his footing in the melee and got stepped on by a dozen people as they were, grappling with each other in close quarters. But you make your way through, and the smell, pungent, misery, urine, stale food, some rotting. You know that Wesa would be appalled by the stench down here. With your iron gut, though, you observe it, but at this point it's meaningless to you, unless you want it to be. Again, going by her early days where the sensory input was overwhelming, but you do have a freaking 20 con, so you can slam down the iron if you want to, if you need to. So how receptive is she now, Allie, right now?
I think that she is, the smell's not bothering her too much on a physical level. On a mental level, I think the kind of savagery of humans is kind of hitting her right now. And
so it's naked and unalloyed here.
Yeah. I think she's kind of getting a new and strange download about maybe the wickedness. Because she understands death. Death isn't scary to her, but it's the senselessness and the smells and the torture and the treatment that's starting to kind of sit with her in a way that feels totally unholy.
Okay. That all makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
So, do I see anything as I'm walking back, further in the ship? Do I see any rooms or compartments or anything of note that stands out to me?
As you walked behind, yes. So, now that you've turned around, you can see that behind the stairs, so you'd have to walk around, but behind the stairs, it looks like there's a fairly substantial compartment there. There's a door there. And then at the far end of the ship, again, there was another kind of in this section that's not rowed near the forecastle. It looks like there's another beefy compartment, and they're also, neglected to say, it looks like they're also cots that are swinging from all over the place, and you have clothes that are on twine that are also kind of swaying with the ship in the breeze. Evidence of meals eaten here. So this was where the propulsion happened, but a lot of living happened here too. And when you're a literal slave, presumably for the ones who sold themselves into slavery, when you're a literal slave and your life just revolves around doing what your masters tell you to do, then it's nice to have zero commute.
Mm-hmm. And as I walk slowly back towards that compartment, that door on the other end,
go ahead.
Do I hear anything going on the other side of the door? Or do I sense anything?
Beautiful, isn't it? You hear whispered into your ear.
Oh.
What do you do?
I'm gonna quickly look around and see if anyone's there.
Okay, you spin.
I spin.
Make an investigation roll.
Spin around, right around.
20, dirty 20.
Ooh.
Nice.
You you catch a glimpse of someone darting into deeper shadow.
And can I tell it's not just an apparition, but a real physical human being?
It seems to have some substance to it,
Okay.
even though it moves extraordinarily well. The thought that comes to you is a panther in motion. And the voice, but opposite where it should be. But not, I think, as beautiful as you.
Show yourself.
And the first bit of chuckle from one direction, another bit of chuckle from a second direction.
I'm gonna,
Now you know roughly where this person dove into darker shadow.
I know roughly where?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pull Winter's Harvest from my shoulder and say, Roth, is that you?
No, but close enough. Oh, honey, don't threaten me with a good time. It's definitely a woman's voice, but aside from Lady Vale's, it's one of the deeper female voices that you've heard. There's a little it's a little husky. I tell you what, if that first one is stupid enough to tell me no, I may be back. It's a nice enough ride. And from a bad angle from where the voice was, make a. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna let you right off of that 20.
Right on that dirty 20.
Yeah. Because you're still totally focused, right?
Okay,
You haven't broken eye contact, or you haven't looked away at all. I
No.
don't think.
No.
Through this. Okay, there's another hint of motion. Deeper in to the shadow, and then, so she moved, and had you not caught that hint, the key that's now sliding toward your feet would have looked bizarre, because it would have looked like it was coming from the wrong direction, because it's not where you heard the voice last. So basically, she's trying to Batman you, and she's pretty damn good at it too. She's pretty damn good at it, but you're just particularly dialed in right now. Your senses are alive again, and so this key slides up.
I'm gonna quickly pick it up.
Okay. And not quite. She didn't roll quite high enough to. I try to keep it real, even with real cool. So she slid it. She didn't. She was trying to get it to where it just came right to your sandal. It didn't quite make it though. So you pick it up, and unless you're mistaken, it looks like it's the key to the compartment behind you, behind the stairs.
Hot dog.
In that moment, I'm gonna just look at the key, and I'm going to, again, shout into where I think she is in the shadow.
Right, the second place she's
place.
moved to. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, show yourself if you're brave.
And the only answer is a soft skittering off of one of the oars. So, Wesa, you hear in the middle of your gathering and your story gathering, you hear a little, and you're almost, because you have, your passive perception's crazy. So, there's always a part of you, because of your training, there's always a part of you that no matter how drawn into whatever conversation you are, you had it burned into you from the time you could think, that you never get so distracted that you can't hear the tread of the assassin's knife, or the assassin's sandal, and the slip of their knife out of their sheath. You and your mother have many differences with one another, but you cannot fault the skill set that she imbued into you. And that training serves you well because your subconscious mind picks up something, snaps your attention over there, and you hear what to your mind sound like someone very quietly slipping into the water on like the far side of the ship.
Oh. Can I would like to go and
Okay.
look.
So you're almost done, or I'd say 70. You're 75% of the way through.
See how you like take off.
Yeah, no, and she just leaves. You
I give him a little look.
That was a big look.
okay.
Do I know that look?
Is one of your expertise skills investigation, hun?
Me?
Yeah, like one of your
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right, so go ahead and make an investigation roll.
Ooh. A crit.
You did?
Nice.
Seriously?
Wow.
She rolled really well too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
So
your
it's like a 21.
what's your total?
21.
21? Okay, unfortunately,
What?
even on that, she rolled well, and she can get well over in excess of a 20, like some of you guys can on your stuff. But with that, what she can't help is the little ripple of water, and so you look, that just confirms what you heard, and it was the oar was, like I said, pretty. Back there. And while all attention is starboard, and of course the Myrmidon swarming around him to make sure nobody gets froggy, and then Merrick and his Grumblebelly counterpart as sergeants kind of manhandling people or doing whatever they need to do to process them. Nobody was really looking at that far corner. Even the archers at this point are focused on the action here, or on the screaming lady out on the beach. Or not screaming, but, grousing lady out on the beach. So you see this ripple.
What are you doing, Wesa?
Corner.
Merrick, there's someone in the water.
He sprints over there.
I don't know
Dashes.
who. I don't know who, but we need eyes.
Where? Pulls out his bow.
I point.
I told you, no jumpers.
That's fair. Make a investigation roll. This Merrick might actually make this.
No. 18.
18?
Yeah.
Not bad. But you're looking. You trust Wesa. I mean, you know she's extraordinarily observant.
She pointing at where the splash was.
Yeah. Okay. But by the time you get over there, might be disturbance, but of course with the gentle ripples coming in and out, it's difficult to tell. You don't see anything more than she points out.
I don't see any head pop up or anything.
And remember, y'all have not yet, even though as players you heard it, you haven't yet communicated with Nilishli.
I will attempt to reach out and see if I can feel that individual's blood. I mean, that's Merrick's just like something just happened.
Yeah, no,
that's
that makes
great.
sense. That makes sense. You feel something rise up in you, and it doesn't feel normal. I mean, it doesn't feel like what you're used to, but you kind of intuit that it's along the lines of what you just projected into your last arrow. So you're like, I don't know if I want that coming out, or you can if you want.
No.
It feels really aggressive though, like what's bubbling up in you. That doesn't feel like something that's a quiet probe.
I did tell him not to jump. I will.
That is excellent rationalization.
Tell him.
I will. You know what? I will let it. Yeah, because I want to see if it actually if they like scream or identifies them. So I will let it happen.
Okay. Cool. This up real quick.
Really cool.
Yeah, all the stuff. Okay. So you hear. Let's see. You're the closest to Merrick. You're up there as well.
Yeah, I'm tending to all the sick people.
Before I adjudicate that, go ahead and make a medicine check, Randy.
21.
Wow. Okay. That's nice. Rolls are picking up. Rolls are picking up this session. That's good.
Donnie.
Did Donnie get you that?
He did.
Those
Like
are
this
just-
whole pile
That's
of them
very,
right
that's awesome. Very sweet.
But, I mean, how was he rolling before? Somebody had to do it.
Yeah. So okay, you've gone through by this time, unless somebody told them not to. Those pesky kithky healers have a mind of their own, so they're not going to wait around. They're kind of paramilitary, because they'll march with the Myrmidon if they need to, but they see themselves as their own thing. So now that they know that there was a ruckus over here, they've arrived, but long before they get there, they're expecting a lot worse, and they're like, "Oh, wow, you did really good."
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for a double, and the other one kind of slaps at her. No, what are you talking about? Just good overall. And
So what I would have done is I probably would have triaged the ones that are just superficial, or they just need a little bit of rest, some healing,
Sure.
versus the ones that are like on death's door, versus the ones that are just they need some medical.
and I believe you said, this is just for the GM's brain. You alighted over all of the slavers and you focused on the slaves. Okay, all right. That's what I was tracking. Okay, great. Okay, with that good of a roll, yeah, I mean, you find the rot. You find some rot that is going to need to be cauterized. I don't know how. I know this may seem like a really funny thing to some people. Really don't like that kind of description, but yeah, you're finding some heinous. You're finding some heinous things in the rot that need to be burned out. So you ask around for, we may get there, but not this session. Not this session. Do you ask the Myrmidon to find a hot iron for you?
Sure.
You want to try to, okay.
Yeah.
Because you're there for about 2 torches all told. The 3 of you are there for about.
They're basically here to help us. We're here to help the slaves. So yeah, I'm absolutely.
Sorry, when I said all 3 of you, Merrick, Wesa, and Marcus are there for about 2 torches.
Understood.
And more for, I know you're tracking more for podcast. And love you, Justin. They, especially once he's gone and Sergeant Merrick is doing his thing, Sergeant Grumblebelly is just like, all right, get it on, go, do what the double says. And so these little kithky feet run off, they skitter, and in a surprisingly short amount of time, which means they must have had some means of getting this on the beach. They're back, and you're holding the poor bastard down, and but he's gonna. It's better than losing a limb.
Right.
So he's gonna have a nasty scar, but he will recover because of your actually tender ministrations. Okay, so all of that was happening. You let this know. This is interesting because I know what the rules say about this, Corey, but to me, especially since it's framed as kind of that bloody intent, I'm gonna say this is what happens. So
whatever makes sense for this campaign.
You're trying to you're trying to and you feel so this time it starts squarely in your heart. You feel this bit of, because Roth never does anything without a little bit of pain, even for her favored. So there's a have you ever had a moment, it's not a heart attack, like really, really mild angina, where you've had like a
little pain.
And some people think it's a heart attack, but it's not. And it's quick, but it's pretty intense when it happens. So just to remind you that you are her supplicant. And it runs through but instead of just dissolving in your heart, it runs down the arm at almost the speed of thought, comes into your fingertips, and as you reach out. Now this is, and you're remembering, because you're now a master of the bow. You're now a legit master of the bow, with it, because you have that bump in archery now. So as you were pulling, the power didn't come from back here on your right, where you're drawing the bow, and that from the old power that you're used to. It was as the arrow was loosed and it was flying, that it picked up a carrier, and now you know in your fingers, because as you're reaching out, 2 droplets of redder than red blood fly out and try to seek something. But it's just pure blind aggression. Mm-hmm. And you know that. You know that. They're just instinctively seeking out, like, God's help, some fish that's unlucky enough to be in the way.
So it's seeking out aggression, basically.
It's seeking out blood.
Blood. That's what I thought.
And it's redder. It looks like blood, but it's almost hyper real. And for that split second, for that less than a heartbeat, there's a part of you that finds it quite beautiful. It's like 2 twin rubies glistening in the sun. And then it's gone under the waves.
Can I see any of this?
Make a perception check.
Cool. Yeah, 22.
Yes, ma'am, you can. only because you're standing right there, but you're like, okay.
Yeah, internally just like, oh, Merrick.
There've been some changes.
Yeah.
Like, silly with blood like I do.
And as that happens, Wesa, you feel something rise up in you in response. You realize you feel a new for you you feel a new sort of sensation, but for you feel it in gut and nose. You feel it rise up to protect you.
Oh.
You feel like if you needed to, you could snort it out to Merrick right now.
Snort it out? What does that mean?
That you could actually snort like the old Empire pug.
In a protective way?
It feels protective to you in that moment. This is so funny. Yeah.
Synergies. Discover.
Yeah, in a way, and then of course your hand is going to want to move in a certain way too, like just instinct, like it's itching to kind of do one of these where it's a circle, an inward circle.
Huh. This has never happened before.
No, but now that like calls to like, you just felt that, but it feels more like a defensive thing welling up in you. So do you follow that or no? Do you let it subside? You, unlike him, this you have full control over. This is just you and your birthright.
No, I wouldn't let it go. I would contain it.
Okay.
I'd be kind of frightened.
Okay.
Oh, you one of these?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna charge you for that. I thought about it, but I'm not gonna charge you for that. Thank you. Corey just offered me one of the hunter's marks. Okay. So unbeknownst to anybody then, because you're in true Wesa fashion, as you're staring off. I mean, this all happens in like two seconds or something.
It's like 2 little freaking
Two
small
people. Yeah, 2 small people at the edge of the ship in the midst of all this. Your hand, just lightly, then your fingers come in on themselves instead of the circle. But it's there waiting for you when you need it.
Do I have any sense if I feel like it's protective from Merrick or whatever's in the water?
With the 22, you do. It rose up as it felt something next to you dangerous.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah. Remember, you're still learning about your body. It does all kinds of crazy,
Just 14 years old.
crazy stuff. Yep. And that, my friends, is called a metaphor. Woo! So, I just sneak them in all the time. So, kiss your children. All right.
So do my tadpoles find anything, or
No, they just
go off?
They just vanish into the water. Okay, I'm gonna give Cartyn some love.
Hello.
Some love.
So Cartyn, as all of this is unfolding, you lose Nilishli as she descends down onto deck, because at some point you had moved up.
I did not, actually.
Oh, you did not?
No.
Okay.
So the moment that she called out for Livia, I followed her.
Okay, so you changed plans and you
They got this.
okay. All right, you're not worried about that.
I'm more worried for her than I am for them.
Okay. So that goes. I doubt you need this reminder, Donnie, but I'm just going to remind the player, since it has been a bit of time, because we pre-recorded the last session, that you have your Enamorata, your badly injured Enamorata, waiting at the Hall of Healing. Okay.
I've been trying to wrap it up.
Okay, fair enough. It's like, no, I didn't think you needed it, but I just wanted to state that. Okay.
The love of your life.
So,
Sick.
yeah,
You
you're
have to draw pictures of me while I'm asleep.
Or spies on you like a creeper.
So you're going along, and to no one in particular, the lady says, Is it always this tiresome? I'm exhausted. I'm telling you, utterly, absolutely, unspeakably exhausted.
Can I do something ridiculous?
Probably.
I love that.
Probably. Not only are you a will worker, you're a specialty in illusion. You're an illusionist. So.
I want to conjure a chair right next to her that she can only see in her mind.
Okay.
Oh yes.
So you're gonna weave in the eternal river.
Yes.
So this is that you're actually weaving quite a glamour, because you're weaving in such a way. This is the second circle. This is the second circle act. Mm-hmm. This is the second circle spell. So this is the most significant mystical thing you've ever done to this point.
Whoa.
So
A chair.
so you quietly weave this,
You can see.
and that does have. You don't have any special abilities as far as not needing to speak or gesture for this, right? I don't believe so. I think you still have to.
I still have to say stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about the gesture, but she can make one up.
Let us look.
She's been practicing.
You can, and in this world, spells, magic in general, will working in general is so verbal and somatic. So is so rare that the uneducated, ironically enough, to reference the lady, in such things won't necessarily know. Now you would expect Adrian would know these kinds of things, and other sages would understand what to look for. And since we haven't talked about this act of will before, Anika, what makes sense for you as she's weaving? So it's going to have to be something. I mean, you're standing behind the lady; she's not paying, as one person says, Dickie McGeezak's attention to you, So you may as well be on a different planet for all she's concerned. So you can gesture to your heart's content. What makes sense is you're putting this act together, this significant act together.
I think because it's so significant, I want it to be just very plain. The act of when she does Lux.
I'm listening.
With light, she'll just kind of flick her hand. But with this, I want it to kind of just be the opposite, and so she'll go out. So she'll do this. But very down here, like right next to her thigh, like very, very small, because I don't want her to.
I'm gonna say with the second circle spell, you need at least 2 gestures.
2 gestures. Yep. That's aggressive.
So out makes a lot of sense to me.
Out, and then I'll push down probably.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, okay, that's good. That's good, baby.
Sit down, lady. Yeah.
All right.
Have your situs.
So you feel this rush of mana, greater than any you've personally handled before. You have been working in conjunction with Figulus when you were making her dagger of venom. You did. There were moments where you were holding more than that, but there you were just holding space, and you were just holding the weight of it and making sure that he could do kind of the fine arcane soldering, so to speak, that he needed to finish that alchemical recipe. Whereas this is all you in the field. And you see these vermilions, pinks, shot through with veins of orange come to your hand and enter her. And she gets to make an intelligence saving throw.
I love it.
All right.
I'm curious about her intelligence.
This poor lady. This poor lady.
What sort of birthright versus intelligence?
I will remind you that you can. So you're concentrating currently. This lasts up to 1 minute.
Sure.
And
So funny. A full minute, guys.
a full minute, so 10 combat rounds. And this seemingly benign thing, you can literally kill somebody with this in this version of D&D. They do not wake back up. That is actually psychic damage you're dealing to them. So you feel it, and this whole and it's so funny to you. You almost laugh, but you have just enough control that you don't.
I have to concentrate. I can't laugh because if I laugh, I'm gonna lose it.
Make a sleight of hand roll. She is not looking, so she's not going to spot you, but I want to see if...
14.
14? Okay. I'm going to give two of them a chance. So the one who was... The man who was bug-eyed with fear, who interposed himself between you and the lady and his lady and tried to steer you away, he looks at you and pulls his lips in.
Comes the word.
And this huge rush of arcane energy just flows right into the base of her skull, permeates her lissom form.
Oh my god.
And where do you place the chair?
I want to place it next to her to where she can kind of see it, but not really. And then I want it to look...
That's credible.
I want it to look like a chair that she sat in before, but something a little bit like elevated, like a nice chair, so that she wouldn't feel like she was sitting on a wooden piece of like shit. So it's like I want her to...
You have to describe it to me because you do not know what is normal for her as a chair.
Do I know or have I seen any pictures of chairs in Leptis Regium from books
Oh, make a history roll.
and drawings?
Make a history roll.
Such an elaborate.
A ruse for a whoopsie. It's so great.
You said history? 18.
As a matter of fact, you have.
Look at that.
On a pictorial review of various eras of the Empire, including Leptis Regium was the manuscript.
What a pool. Holy cow.
So you pull that out of your flawless memory. Yeah, a real page turner, Corey. And it flows in, and she says, "Oh, well." Eventually, looks kind of bobbing, tiredly, bored. Looks over. Oh, goodness. My word. I may have to reevaluate the thus and such about this place. There's a certain je ne sais quoi about this beach. All right, then. Someone actually... Yes, my goodness. And so her handmaiden is giving her a look as she starts a perfect pantomime, an unwitting pantomime of this chair. And she starts inspecting it like a real connoisseur, Anika. Like someone who understands her ways around what's the art. And she says, "Just, my goodness, I think this may actually be, yes, when the original Stevus Gurnius performed in front of the Emperor himself. Oh, I with the sunburst and everything. Look, the Chimera head. Oh, Felka, look, this is extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary."
Oh dear.
And her handmaiden's eyes are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I'm dead.
Domina, I don't see anything. Of course you don't. She says, "That's because you have to look with your eyes, not with your mouth, Falca."
Oh,
and
goodness.
she says, "Finally, at long last, I can rest my weary, aching limbs on something befitting a woman of my refinement." And she gathers her silk, gilded Tyrian cloak, Tyrian purple cloak. She sits down.
Worth it.
And
Every
So worth it. So worth it.
what? Okay, now.
Does she not actually sit on it though? Because it's in her head.
No, she tries to sit on it.
Okay.
That's why there was this horrified yelp.
Uh-huh.
She tries to do a Roman chair in the air, and baby, she ain't doing it.
hilarious.
Love it.
So, what are you doing with the chair as she sits down?
Does it what happens? Does it go through her body? What happens in her head?
It's kind of bizarre, Anika.
Oh, so it's kind of just popping out of
Yes.
her body? Oh, shit.
Oh wow.
A bad video game.
She starts batting and screaming, no! And she gets up, Domina!
Must be dehydrated.
She digs the lady digs her nails into the wrist and the back of the hand of one of her handmaidens. Ah! The handmaiden shrieks.
Ooh. As soon as she does that, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna get rid of it.
And she pulls away because she had just had a chair sticking through her face and out of her chest.
Well, now I know what happens.
Hey, there you go.
It was a test,
Everybody's
guys.
learning.
Puberty.
Puberty.
Katrin's gonna run up to her. Not run up to her, but walk up to her and bow, which, let me tell you, she does not like doing that.
Doesn't even look. Just kind of blindly looking around. It's wretched. I take it all back. It's absolutely wretched.
My lady, what happened?
No. And she slaps you in the face. And then her handmaiden both of the handmaidens, one still nursing her arm, get an arm under her and they steady her up.
She can feel the heat.
Literally.
Of a lovely flame.
Literally.
Growing in her chest.
Okay.
Hold back, though.
Dear.
And you hear her calling out, Cousin, Ave, welcome to Geramentum. And, huh? It was wretched. It was awful.
Oh my god.
You don't know what they did to me down there. I had to listen to them. They were carrying on, moaning, as though my torture, my pain, wasn't at least of equal measure. I, after all, had to listen to them kvetch. And so the Lady of Geramentum is indeed making her way down the beach as some poor Kithki runner just ran his little tush off to get there in time. And Livia herself, you doubt this Lady of Leptis Regium knows, but Livia herself, you can tell that she was probably running just before she got through the gate and then came through, because you can see there's a little bit of flush in the cheek. And are we related? Of course we are. We're here. I'll be happy to run down the lineage and the genealogy. Right. So, welcome to Geramentum, Lady Julia Drusa Caepia Zosh. And at last, I'd practically given up hope. This beach, who knew this beach could be so long, that my travails could be so extreme? And so she goes up to, she's kind of stumbling, almost in a dreamland. Lady Livia takes her by the hand. There, cousin. Come now.
The Jennifer Coolidge from White Lotus.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's
The big glasses. Oh, it's so good.
We'll make everything better. And so, yeah, she continues on. Okay. So I will be... Oh, what? Oh, key. Yep. And then I want to hit... and then I want to get you off of there. I'm going to say for this little thing, actually... Because nobody's down there with you. So you're in private. You take the key. Nilishli, you pick the key up.
right. Yes.
And you see the flash of motion. Of course, you don't know. Later on, you'll confer with them. But in this moment, you don't know that this situation is going on up top with Merrick and Wesa.
Yeah.
But you do see her You see her gone, and you feel whatever presence you could sense, is which little there was, is gone now as well. At least as far as active. And you're there with the stench and the corpses and a key.
Cute. I'm going to look at the key, look out the window, make sure that the mistress of the bloody soil is gone, and then look back at the key, turn around, and walk towards the door.
Okay. You did sense someone there, and probably an agent of some power. You did not, however, this is important because your character's attuned to this, you did not sense divinity. Directly, the way that your character can sometimes. Okay. You go to the door. It's well crafted.
That would be interesting.
Me doing that thing to my own mistress.
Yeah. That would be. That'd be actually kind of funny. Rolf might actually find that amusing.
She
yeah,
might
this is one of the few goddesses that would. And you turn the key?
Yeah.
Okay. Push the door open. You're looking at a perhaps surprisingly well-appointed stateroom. So you see low cushions. There's a bronze brazier there with some coals that are still burning in it. There's some sort of incense lingering in the room. There's a nice meal that's laid out with brie cheese and fresh meat and eggs. Some sort of pickled vegetables are in there as well. I mean, it's that's quite a bit going on. And then there's some sort of bread. You're not maybe made out of spelt. It's a bread that's not typical in Germentum. That's also out there. And it looks like there's a curtained off space. So most of the cabin alley is pretty clearly masculine. You see weapons. You can see a spare set of armor that the captain's never going to get back to. He was working on, apparently he was some sort of leathersmith. And you can see a set of leather working tools that are there, like a miniature workbench that's set off to one side. Well appointed. The tools are nice. And honey, sometimes you think loud. I think I just caught that out of your head. And then you see a section that's clearly been commandeered by the lady, as there's a diaphanous green silk curtain that's been hung, and there's several layers of this thing. I mean, this is a level of wealth. You don't really understand coin very well, but you know that this is a lot. That even Lady Livia would never squander coin this way. But there's several layers to make the point of this Arbellan silk, this highest grade silk that's draped around there. And it looks like whatever bed was there got thrown out, thrown off to the side in disgust by the lady, and you can see where the captain's repurposed it. And then she has, something that has to fit, because even she's constrained by space, but it looks almost like a child's bassinet, where it's very nice and cushioned, and it looks like pretty new velvet that's in there, again with this gold braiding that goes through. So by far the nicest piece of furniture you've seen in person in Germentum.
It doesn't go through your chest.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, see, only Lady Julia got to see. Only got to see that. Yeah.
So.
She'll be fine.
I'm gonna walk up to the silk and kind of touch it, push.
It's marvelous.
Yeah,
it's marvelous.
Feels great.
It's the softest thing you've ever touched.
Oh, that's nice. I think I'm also gonna go into detail looking in the room, wondering why I was given this key. There's something in me that there's is there something else here?
Okay. Make an investigation roll.
Use that silk for my bow.
Yeah, that's true.
13.
You look through. You keep getting distracted by the silk, and then you get distracted by what looks like the lady's chest that's been brought in. Of course, beautiful metalworking, woodworking, lacquered, all of that. Nice, some lovely cherry wood that the brazier light and the streaming sunlight coming in makes it all the more lustrous, and it keeps pulling you away from it. So you do look. I mean, you do a once over of the room. You find some more weapons. Probably not interesting to you. You do find a coin pouch. I don't know if that's interesting to you or not. Yeah, probably not. But you're not satisfied with it. But you know that in your current state of mind, you're going to have to sit with what you've experienced for a bit before you can go back here kind of with fresh eyes. And you also know that Wesa and Merrick have some frickin' eagle eyes, toward this kind of thing. They're busy right now, but maybe later.
All right, yeah. I think I'm gonna does she have any shawls or?
Oh, absolutely.
Can I grab one of those shawls and just kind of throw it around me as I walk out?
Sure. What color would you like?
Is there a dark purple?
The only purple she had was the cloak, but there is a dark, almost sumptuous blue.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna observe it. Can I put the silk on my face and then I'm just gonna actually, you know what? I think what I'll do, and as I'm touching this blue silk scarf, part of me is I wonder if I'll see Griff later. And then I'm gonna
Oh,
tie it onto my belt.
Oh goodness.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Did you say that out loud?
No.
Okay, you just thought that.
It was a fleeting thought of maybe I'll have a different look when a beer comes my way again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, you're walking with these two, and finally, Jason stumbles badly. He's trying to put a brave face on it, and Evander picks him up, scoops him up, and is carrying him almost like a child. And one of the another wave, your Kithki healers are coming in waves, Donnie. Another wave of Kithki healer runs up, and he kind of Evander starts a bit at them as he's run up by what he thinks are children. And they say, by the way, when I say Kithki healer, the default is female.
Yes.
So if you guys haven't noticed. So they run up, and you want us to have a look at him? Yes.
They'll do the best.
All right. And they start looking at him then and there. They brought pouches, unguents, herbs, salves, bandages. They start cleaning off some of his wounds.
Yeah. I'll speak to all of you later. I want to look up and make sure that Merrick and Waste kind of have everything under control, and then
They have a well in hand.
I'll walk past.
Okay.
Any patrician going back to the healing hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she delayed the lady so badly, you almost catch them. Are you going to slow a little bit just so you don't run into them?
While I'm going around, I could probably see just Olivia's face kind of going back in that twin kind of and then I'll sneak in.
Okay. And right as you're moving, Livia says, and over here we have our lovely example of collen fruit. and the woman looks over. Well, I must admit, they are so luscious here. Are you sure? You said that was fourth cousins. And you
Quick dip.
and of course, one of the few things your character has studied is at least to some extent is genealogy.
Yes.
You know that it doesn't really take very long, Donnie.
Yeah.
As these families are all completely intertwined with each other, these patrician families, that to run into a shared ancestor.
Oh,
it really doesn't take that long.
Oh yeah.
And if Livia's using a looser interpretation, a more Kithki perspective on things,
a more kind.
a more Kithki perspective on things, then really, sure, she's a cousin.
Yeah.
And you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Titus see me get slapped by her?
Make a perception roll. Because that was happening ahead of him, but he was kind of.
He was still on his way, yeah?
He was on his way.
14.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
You want to do something?
I was carrying them or whatever, and then Livia probably would have been interjected by that, but I would have saw the chair as well, or at least her just slipping in front.
No, you saw her sit on nothing.
Okay. Yeah, then I would have
Full of
definitely.
her
I would
bums,
have
you
said
saw.
something to catch it on the way up.
Just like
I
fell
would've been
back.
like, did she fall?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Weird.
You don't.
Nope.
And why did she?
I think she's just mad. Maybe overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Sure.
Right.
Just an entire like. I know you did something.
I'm like, no. Like, what?
Did something figureless of nature happen? Yeah. Nah, he's just gonna keep going. But yeah, that's hilarious.
So you,
I wouldn't have imagined a woman just standing there, kind of like moggering out whatever, pantomiming a gigantic chair, and then falling and then slapping Katrin. I know it was something.
it looked, y'all, if you run that through your mind's eye, that looked really weird to the outside world.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
Really weird.
Psycho ward.
Yeah, like psycho word weird.
Overwhelmed.
Be dehydrated. Seeing things.
Mirages.
I'm
I'm Zaha.
let's see, Katrin, even though this would be more her role, but I'm gonna let you roll. Why don't you make a performance roll?
Ooh,
Well, she.
performance.
Because you were bowing and you were doing some of these things and you were just kind of egging her on.
Just so awkward.
I want to
for
see
you.
if it was enough.
Crit.
Crit?
It's there.
So 22 total.
Okay.
We're on fire.
Oh, let's go.
You gave her just the right amount of sub rasa mockery in your bow, and also looked just enough with just at that threshold where she could smell something was amiss, but she was so discombobulated by falling on nothing and seeing herself impaled on a chair that she didn't catch it. I'm going to note down, and even though this sounds funny, and it is funny, it actually does have some game mechanics to it that might come in later. You've actually managed to reduce her dignitas by a point.
Suck it.
The reason I was going to say
with the chair.
the reason I was going to say it wasn't quite enough is because none of her peers were seeing that, but she has just not regained her composure still, even now.
You rumbled her.
I did.
No, you got her
Good job.
badly.
You're welcome.
And
Irritated me. This is what happens.
so, I mean,
Just having you mildly irritate me from a distance.
yeah.
Taking tosses at risk.
And I mean, when she struck you, it was with the hand of a person who does that without even a thought. There was no holding back. It was just right in the mouth, you know.
The only callus she has is the back of her hand for hitting people. Yeah, I love that.
You make your way back to the healing hall, and finally are able to get to Lady Vale. You see her sitting on the edge of a cot, breathing. This is now like a torch and a half later.
Yeah.
So you see, actually, I'm going to roll to see how much she recovered in that interim. Still not rolling great, but some. She's been expertly bandaged. I mean, this is frickin' Granny Dewshine who did that. And before you get to her, Granny Dewshine intercepts you, takes your hand, as Kithki are wont to do, and says, "Young lord, I know you want to speak with her, and rightly so. She has much to tell you." And she's kind of looking off at an angle, so she's doesn't exactly see you come in. Although Lucretia Tarquinia looks over her shoulder, you see the hint of a smile on her aquiline features. The granny continues, "I would like just a quick word with you."
Absolutely.
Thank you. And that's where we will pause that.
Oh dear.
Come back.
Oh dear.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the assist. So there is, in fact.
Why limit your imagination? In the tabletop role-playing space, customization is everything, especially when it comes to your character. Whether you're a player, a painter, or a master of tales, your character is what matters most. Using high-quality, fully customizable miniatures, you can be built for battle with Eldritch Foundry.
We lift our voice to greet the rising sun. Your splendorous touch burns away the dark. With a soft golden hue, your world is made anew. We follow the path you've laid.
And we're back. Thank you very much. So we're going to push on, as we always try to cram in more than the time allows for. A bit of time passes, and yep,
Candle of Tales.
Candle of Tales. Gotta reunite. So
That was
no, that was good. Well done there.
I promise you.
So yes, our own Melissa got the trivia question. The answer is Jasmine, is the name of Merrick's wife. And so, yay, Melissa! So you get that, and she's going to get a gift certificate to Eldritch Foundry and go enjoy the fruits of her intellect.
Yeah.
So, and get to see, and actually, Melissa, if you're watching, you could even make perhaps the character that I'll throw on here, because you're in Austin too, baby, and I think I'm going to see you on Saturday. Oh, quick note. I am going to be running the first Darkeport related table this Saturday at 18:30 at 6:30 p.m. over at Dragon's Lair. So I have three people right now. So if there's some viewers, or if you want to bring a friend or whatever, feel free. And we're just gonna jump right in. I'm kind of doing some prequel stuff, and and I think it'll be a lot of fun to explore a different part of the campaign world that isn't Germentum, because it's going to be set south. Depending on who shows up. If we have children, then we will not be doing Leptis Regium. If we have all adults there, we may be doing Leptis Regium. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to do a soft retcon, Donnie, because all that with Granny Dushan happens, but I wasn't taking into account that it was already a torch and a half later, or almost 2 torches by the time you got to the city, blah, 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 all of that. So Lady Vale wouldn't still be here, wouldn't still be at the healing hall, but Granny Dushine tells you that, takes you aside, and she would have told you that Lucretia's waiting for you outside of the keep.
Okay.
And, or actually, no, scratch that. This makes more sense. That she's waiting for you in the same spot that you found her at the last time.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right. Yeah.
And so she takes you aside, and you can feel her soothing touch, her soothing presence, kind of always. People talk about harshing the vibe. Well, this is definitely the opposite. This is definitely chilling the room in a good way. And she sits down on one of the toadstool-looking seating situations that the Kithki grannies and nenas have some elaborate system about who sits where. And
I'll awkwardly sit down at 6'4",
Okay.
looking down at her. I'll just be really uncomfortable, but obviously sure.
And she holds your hand throughout this, and she says, "Young lord, I've known you since your first breath. I delivered you. You wouldn't remember it, but I do. That man." And finally, the brother who's recovered is in a deep, deep slumber, you suspect probably helped along by milk of the Relly. When he was terrified, you met his fear with cruelty.
I didn't have time. I didn't know what to expect.
You met his fear with cruelty. You, she gives your hand a squeeze, can do better.
I know.
And very soon, you must. She looks off toward the bonfire, where the bonfire would be lit out just outside of the city walls. Maybe very soon. I don't have the sight the way that Granny Touchgem does. It's not that strong in me. It just comes in little times and little ways. But I know very soon I'll have choices to make too. You are so beautiful.
So are you. And I'll reach in and we'll kiss on the cheek.
She beams, and she says, "Go find your emerald tress, lady, and let's
Thank you.
Always,
We'll do better.
always, Domini." So you leave, and you go to
Crypt.
You see Lady Lucretia Tarquinia Domitia Vale standing this time in front of it. Remember, last time she was kind of off to the side sketching different facets of it. And this time she's standing in front of it, and actually kind of between the entrance to the crypt and then the graveyard. She looks at you, and for the first time that you can remember, she just gives you a simple smile.
What did you do? Did you put yourself in danger?
To fulfill my word. Ave, Titus Metellus.
Ave. Risha.
She reaches for your hand,
I put my hand out.
takes it, takes a half step closer to you. I told your grandsire much. I'll give you an abbreviated accounting. May I pass the night with thee?
Absolutely.
She starts walking toward the keep, slowly. I have 3 scrolls I should write. A conscientious patrician always does these things before he or she goes into a situation that they do not expect to return from. That granny of yours, she's uncanny. Did she tell you... Oh. She smiles. I see she did not. I'll say this much. I'm glad your grandsire didn't make me beg to be his shield maiden. I never thought in my entire life I would offer such a thing. But those animals, they forced me to abandon my ancestral armor. I lost my candle of faith. They diminished me, Titus Metellus. I must be restored. I must be made whole. My dignitas has been reduced because of those things. The entire way that your city has thought of them is wrong. They're not marauders. They're not some unruly tribe. They are a rival civilization at your doorstep. I estimate their forces. Most of this I gave to your grandsire in writing as much as I had the strength. At the time, by the torch I recover, as you know, as you do. That I estimate their forces at about, as an understrength legion, probably at least 3,000, as many as 3,500. He's going to meet them in the field. He doesn't want them to strike here, and he believes that with our superior organization and mobility, we can harry them, reduce them. He's taking the first, second, and third centuries.
I'll be there. Don't leave again.
My lord.
I'm still mad at you. Whatever word you made a word to me as well. And you left and almost died.
But I did not.
But you might this time, and I'll be there. Make sure you don't.
My lord? She says a second time. And this time, she takes both of your hands, stands opposite you, stops walking. Thou wilt not. Look around you. Look at these silly people. With their silly ways, and their silly tenderness, and free healing, and free room and board. You have a gift I can hardly comprehend, and I do not say that easily. You have a real purpose in this world. You told me yourself, this is your home. Your blood is tied by bonds of fealty and violence and victory and pride.
This could be your home.
Do you think my heart is so iron that that thought hasn't crossed my mind?
Do it.
You still... She holds one hand, but steps to the side, looks up toward the sky. You actually see a tremble, a single tremble run through her. I wonder... I came here because I had to have information from the primate of Leptis Regium, and I need the support of the magistrate. I need both of them. Because I need them because I'm trying to have... I'm trying to have my son remanded to me at a distance. It is an exceedingly difficult thing for a mother who has been exiled to have happen. I will do anything to accomplish this. Do you understand?
I'll do anything to help you.
Your place is here. And if we fall, this city must have a Vorn at its head. Your sister has a formidable mind. Yes. And a spirit that probably matches yours. But she is a woman in a world of muscle and blood. She would fall. The vultures would be upon you before the corpse was cold, Titus Metellus, and you know I speak truth.
What's his name?
His father wasn't terribly inventive. The same, Antonius.
You'll see him again. In my heart. And I'm going to put my hand over that ruby candle. I'll always be with you.
Don't promise things that you cannot keep. You do not understand how cruel fate can be. Not yet. You will.
Always promise foolish things. But I promise them, and my word is as good as this city.
And if she has a rejoinder to that, she does not speak it aloud. You walk back to the keep. You come back. You seek out Wesa as you are thinking about arranging a time, a quieter time, not the chaos, no violence, where you can go back and have her extreme perspicacity turned upon the cabin room. And instead, you find her, and like I said, just to kind of push the pace, I'm going to say that you finished processing people to your satisfaction. You're pretty damn sure that you sussed out anything weird. There was only one person who was a little squirrely, and you erred on the side of caution. And you're back. You're back at home base. Publia, though, as she has been doing more and more often, has got Lemonius out, her paramour, out on some basically wild Paisia chase. Mm-hmm. And he's running around. So when you come in and she says, "Back here." And you see her hard at work, sweating coming down her solid frame. She says, "Hey, honey. Oh, you brought a friend. Hello, Nilishli."
Greetings.
She's cutting at something with her Macarian steel blade.
What are you up to?
Just trying to get the last little... Well, sweetheart, I'm never going to fit back into this anyway. So... And she lifts up in a forest green riveted leather armor set. By the way, this would be, you caught you never saw the scene that Cartyn was looking at, but Cartyn, as soon as you see this armor, you're going to know, especially if she's wearing it, you're going to know that this is the same armor that Publia took into Crystal Remembrance.
Oh.
Shit.
With her.
Oh, that's so cool.
So,
Wow.
it looks beautiful, but there are some rough hues, some rough spots to it. I was trying to make this a present, but here's the thing. I don't have time. We have to leave. Figgy and I, we have to go.
Go?
There is a new child. We have to find him. It'll be a boy.
A boy?
Girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. This is the 8th one.
Where are you going?
Crimson, child of the Crimson. Well, that's a very good question, because we don't know where all of these things wind up, but we're going to where it, by all divination will working, it looks like the child has arisen, spawned. I don't know what the right word is.
Julia,
Nilishli,
can I ask you a question?
you can ask.
How do you know that a child of the Crimson is born? Is there telltale signs?
There are. That, my dear, is a 2-day lecture by Phigulus, the Archmagus of the world. So I will not try to answer that. But he tells me that there's another child coming, and it's about right. It's been about 20 winters. Kind of got an ache in my bones. I'm sort of tied up in the whole thing too.
So you need me to come with you?
No, what I need you is to master this armor. And she hands it to you. The armor is surprisingly light. Surprisingly light. She says, that will keep you safer than any leather possibly could. That is empowered and enchanted and augmented to the frickin' gills. Most importantly, it will ease your ability to envenom things and quicken it. It won't make it stronger, all right? But it will make it faster and less effort. I should have. I'm a bad Publia. I didn't write down all of the history about it. It's just I always thought I'd have more time. You know how it goes. And there's a whole story around it. Chimera scales, tricking a green dragon, yada yada yada. Let's just say you can't remake that. I don't know that we could remake that at this point, me and Figgy. So if it's gone, it's gone. It's not worth your life, but hopefully it'll keep you safe.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So now that you have your dagger, baby, and you have your armor, and you have your fellowship, we're going into the hell zone. So
Hell zone?
you're gonna have to go dead zone, death zone, zone of death, kind of depends on what bard you hit. Ask Cartyn. Oof, well, Phigulus won't be around, will he? In a quiet moment, ask her about Spes. It means hope in Old Speak. Ask her about Spes. Ask her about the Children of the Crimson. She knows. She has a flawless memory. She knows everything that Phigulus does at this point. Just about. Or everything that he's deigned to tell her. And I've been trying to push his damn ass hard. It's been like, I don't know, pulling teeth or something. Little that he has left.
So I'm guessing I don't know when I'll see you again.
This is how it is, baby girl. This is the life. And I'm old, and I'm fat, and I'm tired, and I want out. But you know what? Who am I to carp? It's been a hell of a ride. She gives you a kiss on the cheek. Okay, so I'm off to be his, glorified bodyguard, companion, I guess, again. I don't know when my life got taken over by this. Actually, I do. Never mind.
As she's about to walk out the door, I'm gonna stop her and say, I think I have some information that might help you.
Please?
Past Phigulus's hut, there's a grove. And in this grove, there is a something. I don't know what it is, but it's not from here.
Okay, I'll try to get the Nutter to come with us.
And Publia, what's going on with the pastries?
How do you mean?
Do you want me to run shop, or is Lemonius in charge?
I want you to do your best. So.
I'm going to interrupt again, Publia. I don't think you are understanding me.
Nilishli.
In a grove, past Phigulus's hut.
She laughs.
There is a thing. The thing that Merrick and I saw on the evening that he was cursed, was blessed, I don't know, but there is something in the grove and...
Thorns balls, Nilishli. Are you telling me there's yet another thing in the grove? So not Tipo, not the batshit crazy thing that's almost as powerful as Naeus? That lives under the tree? that gives people nasty time and memory altering and warping
I don't think she's
draughts?
met Tipo.
I don't think.
Oh, you haven't had that pleasure. Okay.
No,
I think I
he
would have
sounds
told
wonderful.
Her. I think I would have told you about that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that.
Oh, right. That other abomination in there. Okay.
So you know it.
I haven't actually gone out to sample it. Here's how it goes, my darling.
But what do you mean?
One last piece of advice, and I mean this seriously because you're a really sweet girl, despite the fact that you can kick almost everybody's ass.
Thank you.
And she actually reaches out and she takes this calloused, thick, I don't know what you want to call her, hand, but this veteran of the life. And Poobly is actually getting a little choked up. There's a man out there who has a lot to be angry about. And I'm doing my best to make sure that we just boop around him. Because here's what's going to happen. He's already tried to get into the hut. There was already almost a fight. Actually, right here.
Here, in this building.
Yes, ma'am. I talked us out of it. I get it. Griff has a lot to be angry about. And the things that prince did to Laylee, to the 7th child of the Crimson, to the last one, were unspeakable. And the whole thing is just... it's really quite awful. But we're gonna try to make it right. It's gonna be a rough time for you too. But you'll make it. You'll figure it out.
Nilishli is going to be kind of moved and not knowing what she's doing. She's going to slowly go up and give you a really awkward hug.
And slowly,
Pat on the back.
Mama North just gives you a slow burn hug. And then a matronly touch on the side. He likes you a lot, but he's desperate. And desperate men do desperate things, Nilly. I just don't want your heart broken.
I thank you for your concern, but I don't think there's anything to worry about on that front here.
There's a gleam in her eye. Okay. If you say so.
Doesn't have a heart.
But just checking, you are walking to the grove, and you do understand what I'm talking about, but you are going to bypass Griff and not see him?
I think we can finesse that, and I think me and Figgy are going to be on our way, and we'll see if Tipo wants to join us like the old days. And then we'll see if we can steal a Child of the Crimson out from underneath the most heinous and powerful thing currently in the world of muscle and blood. That killed his wife and killed his son and would have killed him that day, but for me, frankly. Lord Kiarsi, Teal's right-hand man. A demon if there ever was one.
But surely you need more assistance on this pursuit?
I'm not going to bring you to your death, darling. I just hope you've heard Griff's story. I just hope he chooses life, okay? Yeah. Here's the thing. Once you remove one thread, they all go. And you can take that in a lot of different ways. I have to start going. I have to start walking or I'm not going to leave. I've gotten too damn comfortable here. She gives you a kiss.
I will think of you.
Keep growing. And she leaves.
Waisa just kind of gets very erect and kind of proper about it all.
Shop's yours, baby. Have fun. And
I will.
I'm going to turn to Waisa and just slowly pat her on the back, awkwardly again. Like I'm trying to comfort her, but I
There.
Take her hand and just put it down. No.
Are you sure, Waisa, you're not going to miss her?
Of course I will, but there's no time for that, and I've been preparing for this for a long time.
Aye. Well, your armor looks very nice.
It does, doesn't it?
You look fantastic.
Designer.
So great.
Marcus, I don't want you to get lost in the shuffle before I move on to Merrick and then a final and then to finish Titus's scene. So, what are you doing?
I'm going back to the healing hut with the rest of the people.
Okay.
It's the best place for me right now. I'm gonna stop in along the way and get Alba because she is trained as a healer as well. So
she's waiting.
Okay.
She's waiting for you. She gives you a huge hug. She does not barrage you with questions.
Take her hand, just walk with her quietly. You know, that comfortable silence that we have.
Yeah, and you draw strength as you always have. I mean, even long before you were wed, actually, you draw strength from her presence, and you have a simple but profound insight that you worship hearth and home, and wherever she's at, that's home.
Yeah, that's true.
Fire today, man. God, holy.
It's only Tuesday.
I know. When we get to do this again, we get to film again. We are, spoiler alert.
Can't wait.
The next one's also going to be pre-recorded because not everybody can make it. So, as many people as possible make it on Thursday. So we're gonna film again in 2 days, but come out normal bat time, normal bat channel. So, you also a little bit later, but you because you double and triple and quadruple check to your satisfaction that none of the slavers are going to break free. And you make sure that the one that Waisa pulled out as being potentially sketchy, you still have him bound, but you have him set aside, and you're going to focus on him when you get to him, but they can wait. You have truly pressing matters, so you get over to the healing hall. You see Marcus probably with entwined with his wife on one of the larger stretcher-ish things, already dozing off, just because he's still recovering. And even though hit point wise you're okay, but you're kind of tired.
The wife is there.
Yeah, Alba's there.
Merrick wants to walk over. Alba,
Huh? Yeah.
apologize.
About what then?
I was wrong earlier.
About what?
How I treated you when you were with your son was not right. Family is important.
Aye, 'tis. But not that bad. And Marcus you're kind of in a low dose, so you feel his presence, but you don't feel any need. She's stroking, just with infinite tenderness, she's stroking your hair.
I'm gonna lean in towards her, like we're kind of sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he okay?
She reaches out and she tries to give your hand a squeeze, if you'll let her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Already getting used to the custom, I see.
Oh, had that one long time. Oh, Yubs, he's a rock. My rock. It'll be fine. Right as rain.
If you need anything, Seek out my wife, Jasmine. She'll know.
That feller. That's an odd one, that is. The brother who's just comatose right now.
He's gonna have a long way back. He has some challenges I think we'll have to face, but hopefully he'll be strong enough willed to face them.
You hear Granny Dewshine coming up, and you hear her kind of, not mutter, but just remark quietly to herself, 2 hand grabs in one day. And with that, she slips her hand into yours. Merrick Touch Gem. Can I have you for a moment?
Yes, Granny Dewshine. I've been wanting to speak with you.
I know. She leads you a little bit away, and the other healers in the hall do that thing that Kithki healers are so good, where even though they're in the same space as you, you can feel them withdraw themselves. And they're giving you privacy even though they're close by. They're not going to hear anything. So, I noticed a bit of wear and tear on the bow that Granny Touch Gem made for you.
Yeah. I'm in a quandary. Do you know the grove that Vigilus knows about?
I know that grove.
The other, maybe a 10th day now, maybe a little longer. I went to it. I was called to it in the middle of the night, and Roth was there, or a servant of Roth, and she challenged me, and she told me truce lies. I believe truce now, and I don't know. And she gave me a choice, and the dream and Jasmine and my people forced me to make the choice of not. Have I abandoned the Great Mother by making this choice? I feel tainted. I feel confused. It's like 2 worlds being torn apart.
Merrick, love, I have an answer for you, but I think you should talk to the other granny for this. But first, let's have a cuddle. Let's just lie down. Not unusual for Kithki, by the way.
The cats.
Just a little cuddle.
She gently leads you over to one of the larger but still kind of Kithki scaled stretchers, and she lies down. And then she's like, sits back up. Tries to lie you down.
Do I cup her? Do she cup? How's that work?
Well, she tries to lie you down.
Who's the little spoon?
She tries to lie you down and have your head in her lap, and then she is stroking the top of your head, but you also feel her nimble, precise little fingers hitting different spots on your scalp in a gentle rhythm, and you start to feel kind of this cascade of chills, of soothing chills running down your back, down your face. She hits different points along your face, even does this kind of weird thing, but it immediately feels good, where she hooks your ear a little bit, pulls it out, and you can feel your ear being drawn, your head expanding again. Some of the pressure, some of the angst that's been building up start to leave. A few tears, not crying or anything, but a few tears, just out of relief, out of pure relief, come through, and you know that your next conversation is going to be with the, honestly, at this point, I'll refer to her as the matriarch of your clan down. I wouldn't refer to Granny Dewshine that way, but that word pops into your head. Make a wisdom check. Actually, 2 checks. 1 wisdom, and then that second one is a religion roll.
I'll credit the second one.
Woo.
And
really
wisdom on that would be 14.
Okay. So with the 14, it's more of just a feeling, and you you know there's going to be some kind of reckoning with you and your bow and with your understanding of the old power. But you can't put it into words yet, but you're feeling it. You're feeling the psychomachia swirling around inside of you, and you know that something's got to give. The other thing with that, it's 20 on the religion check. It doesn't usually hit you. You're very focused on the here and now. You have to be. A moment of distraction is death. But you are still a touch gem, and Granny touch gem, who you are related to, not directly, but related to in the larger Seppu. Some of her blood runs in your veins, and so with that 20, you actually catch a glimpse of a very different sort of matriarch who has just now, or perhaps recently, within the last day or so, embarked on a journey of her own. And she's coming toward Geramentum. She looks Kithki, but you know, she looks Kithki, but the undertones are different. The undertones of her skin, the features of her face, the way her eyes sit in her skull.
And I would think if this is another granny, a matriarch granny.
Yeah.
Coming our way. Don't know from where.
Make a last roll. Make a history check.
No.
Okay. I'm not. Was it a 1?
No.
Okay.
It was a 3.
Okay.
Plus whatever.
Yeah,
I probably
no,
had like a plus.
No, that's good.
Plus 5. Right?
No, that's good. Yeah, like I said, this is a rare thing for this character because you're so locked on, but something has been stirred, you know, at your core, and something has answered, and she is now on her way.
The last thing I will say to her. I saved the slaves. I saved Titus, I think. He was angry. He was going to do something.
She bends down so she whispers into your ear. First loves are powerful, Merrick, and dangerous.
Thank you.
And you think back to his heightened agitation as this lady that you now know in your bones he's hopelessly in love with. You can feel that even if he doesn't understand that yet. You know that seeing her laid low to within an inch of her life brought him to a pretty nasty, dangerous place.
His foolishness is gonna get me killed.
What are you talking about?
And on that note,
What do you mean?
What could that be?
I'm gonna push on this. Make a note, Katrin. Adrian finds you, and there are things that. Boy, this is just this day. See, I told you guys that we weren't going back and forward in time, and I have stuck to that. However, it just seems that we're going to be stuck on the calends of Greatus, the first day of Greatus forever. So, which is fine. It's fine.
We just had daylight savings time, right?
Yeah, we just had right. I'm gonna blame it on daylight savings. No, that just so jacked me up. So we have a clock in the studio at my request, and I keep looking over there. We haven't reset it yet. I'm like, every time I look over there, I'm like, no, it's okay. So yeah, Adrian has found you exhausted. Delighted is the wrong word, but deeply, with a deep, quiet joy that he has managed to find some pathway through the morass and the chaos and the conflicting agendas that were the 3 different denominations of the Church of Light that he went into. Because remember, he was in with them, banging it out for 7 days and 7 nights, Anika, trying to find this very junior brother from Leptis Regium was trying to, but through sheer dint of brilliance and force of personality and deep compassion, was trying to get them to some place that made sense. So we need to play that out, and I want you to have the details of that.
Does he know how to speak the language that he gave me? Does he?
Why, yes. Yes, he does.
Have I learned it yet?
You haven't had enough time.
Are you sure?
I am. This has all been on one damn day.
Okay. Give me a day.
Even you. Even
Give me a
you.
day. Challenge accepted.
You don't forget any of it, and you are literally as intelligent as a human can be. However, you just have not had a chance to suck the info down.
Makes sense.
Okay, so things happen. You're in the keep. You can see the men stirring with serious alacrity there to get ready, and you have this surreal moment, Titus, when you realize, and you can veto me as the player, but I think I have the correct read on this, that you don't give a damn about that right now. What you give a damn about is following this woman into the keep and hoarding, sucking down every breath, every moment, every glance, every, and you hope you're wrong, memory that there is to take. But this is the eve of war. This is the first, sure, there've been skirmishes, there have even been some big set-tos out there, but you can feel this is different now, because the old lion is taking the field and he's not coming home for a while, if ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 highlights. Damn, this thing called time and flowery jamming, flowery detail-oriented jamming.
So like on that, he probably would be looking out, seeing all the preparations being made, the night torches, everything going all that time away, and then he probably would go over to his room, kind of see Jerem, and kind of like, I get it, and just kind of like have that moment, and then go back to her.
She looks, you followed her, she followed you, kind of a joint dance, which is how this whole thing has been going. I guess technically you started it, or you could blame it on her for riding in like a pagan goddess on an equine. But
You gotta think for horses.
yeah, it's a horse that got you.
Yeah.
And
These things are so cool.
so she looks at the horse. But sorry.
Equine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Oh no, I stand corrected. Absolutely.
Wow.
And so she walks in, and you hear something. I don't think you've heard this noise before. Close, but there's like a sorry, and
Whoa.
she looks, and because she sees Jerem has taken over your room, and the Nenas around her are not impressed by this, patrician chosen warrior striding in there. Apologies.
Yeah.
And she says, "Do we have to beat the baby in arm wrestling?"
It'll be done soon enough. I will help you go back to your son. Don't die.
She puts her ear next to your. She puts her lip next to her full lips next to your ears, next to your ear. Please don't mention that to anyone else. It is a gaping wound, and more importantly, in Leptis Regium, it is the vulnerability. I shouldn't have said that out loud. That was a moment of weakness. There is a chance, I'll just warn you mechanically, there's a chance if you break that in that moment, I'll knock your Dignitas down. So something passes between you there that's deeper than even the words themselves. Right. So I guess we find a different room.
Yes.
And that's her laughing at the absurdity of this bastard baby, of this orphan, not bastard, but this orphan baby overpowering the combined Dignitas of 2 chosen patrician warriors. So you find an unused room. There are some happy memories here. There's some sadder, more recent memories, but it's not an infamous room. And just to kind of sluice through this, you see her tear through one scroll, and she says, "The contract has already been executed. The room is thine in perpetuity until you give it to someone else. 5th room down, Philodemus's hall." And she says, "Again, I would like you to rip that up if I make it back." Second scroll. This one she really hesitates on. Almost looks like she's going to try to blot something out to correct it. Hesitates again. You've never seen her kind of start and stop like this before. Damn it. I have to bring Harry. I have to. His mobility is too important.
Anything to keep you safe.
I know this sounds ridiculous and stupid. There have been times where he was my only friend. And now he trusts me completely, and now I'm going to put him in harm's way. And again, and again. If your sister spies desire a copy, they can have it. There's nothing scandalous in this. I'm updating my will. And she finishes a 3rd scroll. You can see the tiredness now hitting even her. She kind of starts to do one of these where she's starting to fall down and then snap. It's late now.
Yeah, I'm just sitting by her.
How do you want to be throughout this time as she's carrying out what she feels is
it would probably just be
her patrician duty
and just
you're just
witnessing. Yeah,
witnessing,
filling a glass, doing whatever I can, anything to help.
Are you trying to burn her into your memory?
Yeah, that's it. Truly, it would just be like sitting there watching a painting at work. A painting slowly but surely moving, kind of finally falling to where it would rest.
I told you, Donnie, in the episode Emerald Dawn, 6th episode, that your character would never again see something as beautiful of the earthly realm as when the dawn backlit her and set her emerald tresses afire, aflame. And I'm not breaking my promise. I'm not breaking my narrative promise. But you see something wholly different. Because remember, this is not her in Springtime Glory. This is her with exhaustion and damage, humbled, diminished, unbroken. In a side room in your keep. And you have to understand how many bizarre things had to happen for this woman to be in that chair at this time with you. A lot. And you see the touch, and perhaps you've been swayed somewhat by this talk of Tezcatli and the Night Mother. As you see, she rests the day back from the Lord of the Dawn Star fully. The twilight falls on her, caresses her as only you have before up to this point. And almost as though she can hear your thoughts and feel your heart, she takes in a deep breath and then lets it out as a long, shuddering expression of relaxation. You see the pulse in her throat. This ridiculous town. It doesn't have any proper twine. After my banishment, I no longer have a signet ring. His Imperial Majesty did not strip me of my status, but he did strip me of some of its function. So I apologize to the Titus Metellus that I cannot seal this correctly with the sigil of my ancient and beloved house, but only with this Kithki twine.
I knew the city would rub off on you.
She just gives, for once, an almost a girlish eye roll.
Dad joke.
Or she says, "Here. Only open this if I am lost."
It won't be. I'll hold it for you.
Then you don't need to open it. She hands it to you. It has not escaped my attention. Flicks out her hand, starts massaging it.
I actually go to massage her hand because that's every single time that I have to write anything more than 5.
Yeah, no, you know exactly
Oh, God, my hand hurts so much because of the 2 sentences I had to write.
Yeah, I mean, she just belted out
exactly.
a whole crap ton of basically last orders.
I'm like, and you didn't even draw any pictures. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was a little rushed. I'll try to make it easier next time for you to read.
Good one.
It has not escaped my attention that when it hung in the balance, that this... She pulls down to just the simple clothing she's wearing. This is what was there. I know that. The signs are there for those, and she twists it between thumb and forefinger, for those with eyes to see. I care for thee very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back.
Probably only torches until dawn now. She pushes off from the chair, rolls her neck. I should go through my asanas. Sequence that Indra, my sword sister, taught me. Very good for balance, flexibility. But,
I'll help you.
I actually... She reaches up to kiss you.
Oh. Yeah, obviously.
And this time, as the two of you join, it feels very different than at the Springs. Closer to Under the Storm, as you saw the walls of Geramentum, but there are undercurrents that you can't read, that you know are beyond you right now. Maybe as you grow as a person, you can look back and you can meditate upon this, or maybe in moments you'll understand. Okay. Last scene, because I am a brutal, brutal game master, and we can do this quickly.
So brutal.
Brutal game master.
What does, as the sentries, as 3/4 of the fighting force of the city marches off to intercept the Utini, who outnumber them about 10 to 1. So, grim odds. You know that they hold your grandsire, though in a sort of dreadful awe. They
That's
call
somehow
him.
excused from the first century.
What's that?
I mean, I know it's always been a weird relationship.
You're not, yeah, because you're not in the sergeant. You're not in the sergeant lineup anymore. You're assigned to him.
Got it.
Fourth century is who's staying behind. So you get mainly Kithki. There are some humans there, but mainly Kithki. Lost my train of thought. I was thinking about American Kithki too much. Okay, so as they're marching out, your grandsire is good as his word, of course.
As she was going out, I would have ran over to Phlebotomus. I would have grabbed Aerie and then brought him over to her while she was getting ready for armor.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
She appears. How do you want to? Actually, I'll do this last little thing, and then I'll ask you basically how you see them off in each of your ways. Of course, Lady Julia is not going to be up at the ass crack of dawn. So she is sleeping in. She is not part of this operation. Your sister, your twin, Lady Livia, though, comes out, and as you're leading Ari back in, Ah, Ari. And Lucretia checks herself, reins in the naked emotion, but comes up, checks him. Livia catches up to you. The men are bowing as they march out past you, past her.
I would be leading the horse out all the way to the gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're in full armor.
Perception. Yeah.
You're in full armor at this point, I imagine. Okay. Okay. So as you're getting ready to leave the keep, I'm going to say probably the fellowship is gathered at the keep or at the gate. Where do you all think this final scene? Do you bid them adieu at the gate? Okay.
Yeah, they're leaving the city at the gate.
All right, gate.
Because I think it would just be a large procession of anyone who would be there to see it.
The entire city turns out. Every man, woman, and child, sleeping babes, the 12th lighters who have been woven back into or have been reaffirmed back into the city, all show up. So you have over 4,000 people gathered there. It's even bigger. The only people who can't, even people who are like incredibly sick have their friends carry them out. And the old lion goes to war. He looks at you, it gives you a nod, a little bit less curt than usual. But at the gate, finally, Livia has carried this package in her hand. You might have, you or Wesa, do you want to start at the keep and then move with them, or are you meeting them at the gate?
I'm meeting at the gate. I think I would have gone to Figulus.
Okay.
After the whole chair.
We probably need to, Adrian, and then probably have a scene with Figulus Neus. All right, fair enough. Write that down too, because I will forget that if we don't have that notated. Livia runs up to Lucretia, or kind of breaks and says, Lady Lucretia Tarquinia Domitia Vale. Looks down from on top of her steed. Ave, Lady Livia Metella Drusa Warren. And, Glabria, pardon. Thinking about that thing in there. I imagine so. No matter. Here. Take this. You'll have ample time to change. What? It's my armor. My scale armor. Better than what you're wearing now, heavier. I was always a disaster with it. I never got the way of it. But you won't find another set that fits a woman of your size and my hips. So you might as well put it to good use. I hate things collecting dust. Lucretia seems taken off guard by this.
I'm going to take out a column fruit tart, feed it to Ari, and be like, look at them, I think they like each other. And just slowly kind of like start petting as if I'm only having a conversation with the horse. But they know.
And Livia comes up to her, reaches up, allows her the superior position by age, takes her hand. I always wanted a sister. I hope in thee I may have found one. Now you have 2 reasons to come home. Vale, Lady Vale. Vale, Lady Vorn. And your grandsire grabs you on his way out, and he does one of these, grabs the shoulder, moves past, and as he's grabbing the shoulder, he squeezes it, and he looks at you and tells you, the dream is yours now. Make it a good one. And he's off.
Understood. And then if Lady Vale's about to say a while, I'll be like, don't say it. And then I'll kind of shoo Ari ahead.
Okay.
So no goodbye.
The last thing you see from her is a smile, and then she's off, regaining strength with every torch, perhaps to be at full strength before she meets her supreme supreme test of her crazy career. Okay, so as you're seeing them off, I know what you're doing. Merrick, what are you doing?
Where am I at the point? Do I have a chance to even see Titus?
Lord Titus before he leaves?
Yeah, you would have had a chance to say something to him during the procession.
Domine, I feel I've been in every war since my birth with you. Feels awkward not going with you now. My mortal enemy you face.
Addressing Invictus.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He says, Sergeant, the seed is well planted. Now let it sprout.
Yes, Domine. Gives a bow.
He gives you a deep nod back. I mean, there are plenty of tears. There are plenty of, I may even go into a little bit, I may cheat it a bit and end and say it's still the same scene, give you a little bit more detail at the beginning of next time. Okay, Nilishli.
I think I'm watching the whole scene unfold, not as affected as everyone else.
Right.
And I just as the tail end as they're about to leave, I'm gonna start walking towards Figulus's hut.
Okay, that makes sense.
In the middle of the night, was I able to wake up and go to the blacksmith at all? Like just pound on the door, see if he can wake up for me. I was holding on to this because I didn't want to interrupt things, but
yes, Randy, you have been exemplary in your patience. Yes, you were able to do that.
Great. I would like for him, if he would. I'll need a candle, about one. Can you make me one real fast? Yeah, they will.
You're the fucker that's been healing people, huh?
I have been. I'm so sorry to wake you up.
All right, Leptis, old boy, let's go.
Love it.
And he looks around, and he finds something, and just basically kit bashes that into shape that'll kind of roughly approximate some sort of iron rod candle. So yes.
Then I'm going to try and string it so that it won't actually fall out, and I'm going to actually hand it off to just if she'll allow me to approach her. I'm going to push it into her hand.
To
Lady Vale.
Oh.
Much.
Why me?
You didn't have one when you came back.
This is true, plebeian, and I thank thee, and I will remember.
No back way.
Wow.
Very
emotional.
Very
Shit.
Damn. All right. Lisa.
Shit. How do you follow that?
Yeah, Wesa is just kind of stony, feeling like, okay, it's her time to be an adult. She's on her own here. Yes, she has her friends, but she's quite solemn, and she feels like the culture of her homeland really in her blood right now. Just this kind of like steely, focused, nonsensical, not gonna
No nonsense.
no
yeah.
nonsense, no nonsense stance, but at the same time she's like kind of somberly nibbling at a treat as she watches everyone.
That's a perfect way to split the difference.
I love it.
Okay. All right. And last but certainly not least, Cartyn.
How dark is it outside?
It's a bit after dawn.
Is the sun, like, where? Is it dark
Just
enough?
beginning to crest the walls.
Okay. So she's going to...
Because you're all the way over here, yeah.
So she's going to trip at him, the entrance, or the like, exit, I guess, to the outside, and you're just going to see 4 balls of light.
Yep.
And it's kind of her way of saying goodbye. And so she'll just stand and... Is Figulus outside or no?
For this, he does. He gets outside, and as Titus Invictus and Figulus Neus pass each other, they nod to each other.
While she's concentrating on that light, she's going to hold Figulus's hand.
He starts, and then the hand, by degrees, relaxes. And that is where we will end it. All right. It's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna do this again on Thursday. Woo!
Golly.
All right. So, Allie will either figure something out, or we'll just carve out some, because obviously there needs to be some resolution on that front. So, to our faraway friends, thank you so much for being present and being watchful and being insightful, and we appreciate all of that. And most of all, we appreciate the supreme gift of your time.
Yes.
As you, seriously, as you go about your journeys and you stay well, and hopefully you also stay curious. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
Bye.